Welcome to the Stones of Your Face, the place where on the internet people talk about Star Wars. This innovative series is drawing near its conclusion. In fact, tonight is our penultimate episode. All we have left after this is 2 weeks from tonight talking for the first time about the Rise of Skywalker in retrospect. But let us meet our panel before we get into it. First, for over 1,000 generations, he was the guardian of peace and justice in the galaxy until a pupil of mine betrayed and murdered him. Put your hands together for Marc-Anthony Macon.
Good to see you again, Sir Alec.
And next up, she is an energy field created by all living things. In her spare time, she binds the universe together, and she has a strong influence on the weak-minded. Who could it be but Amanda Sisk?
Oh, I thought it was going to be Amanda Chlorian.
Amanda Chlorian. Now, when we originally started planning this Star Wars series, we figured that the penultimate episode would be a sort of anticipatory discussion about episode 9, which we're about to see in 2 weeks and talk about on this show. As it turns out, though, we have made that a pretty regular segment, and pretty much all of our episodes this year have included anticipatory thoughts and predictions and fears and other expressions of feelings regarding the Rise of Skywalker. So I don't know how much of that we really need to do tonight, but it's a check-in. We're just going to have probably for us on the brief side, talk about how we feel at this moment in the saga and whatever else
funny.
might be on our Star Wars minds.
Start doing this. My hair looks funny.
We're going to take a little break now while Amanda fixes her hair.
No, it just looks, now everybody's going to notice. Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Well, this is the penultimate Amanda Sisk hair look of Faces of Stone 2019.
Shit.
Well, people come and go so quickly around here. Amanda is wearing a hat. Well, that's about all we have time for tonight. All right, no, seriously. Let's let Marc-Anthony talk. How are you feeling, Marc-Anthony? We've got only 2 weeks left of not knowing.
First, I have to explain my bingo.
How dare you, Marc-Anthony? Look at him just talking. He just starts talking on his own show.
No, I have to talk about ringing the bell.
Oh, yes, talk about ringing the bell.
So I have a bingo.
We'll try to get you on the schedule soon, Marc-Anthony.
I'll wait patiently.
Please be quiet.
I'm done. I have nothing to say.
No. Please talk about bingo and ringing the bell.
I have a bunch of things written on index cards. And if these two boys say any of them, I ring a bell. My neighbor gets pissed off. And I show you what the card was.
But rather than try to guess what's written on those cards, we will just converse and hope we get lucky. Marc-Anthony.
I'll take that as a yes. So I'm cautiously optimistic at this point, but very cautiously because JJ is not my favorite person in this position. But everything that I've seen so far seems pretty hopeful. It might turn out to be exactly what I'm wanting, but I don't want to get my hopes up because if it doesn't, I'll be even more crushed.
It could be a long way to fall.
Yeah.
Amanda, when we bought our tickets last week, something changed, didn't it? Just knowing that we had the tickets, and we were excited right away, just having a confirmation number.
Yes, and I don't know why I'm saying this now because I never ever would have said this before, and maybe it's because I lived through Lost and I lived through the Twin Peaks 25 years later, but I feel like I'm gonna like it no matter what, and no matter how many questions get answered, I feel like I'm really gonna like it because it is a Star Wars movie, and as long as he makes a Star Wars movie, I will be okay. If he does not make one of those, I'll get upset. But
it would not be one of those.
I don't know if it doesn't feel like one. If it doesn't,
not a Star Wars movie.
What are you shaking at me?
Tentacle. A friendly yet slightly critical tentacle.
What were you saying? That it wouldn't be like
what could happen, or what could it Rise of Skywalker be like that would make you think this is not a Star Wars movie? What would you
If it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie, and let's be specific. I don't know, dialogue, the way the dialogue's written in Star Wars movies versus other movies versus, say, Solo, which isn't written like a Star Wars movie at all. The feeling, the way it looks, but also an adherence to this mythical thing without trying to explain it too much, which is what they did in the prequels. Like, I don't know. I'm not very specific. I just think I'm going to like it as long as it is a Star Wars movie. I don't think Solo was a Star Wars movie. It was a standalone adventure film that you didn't understand if you hadn't seen Star Wars.
I also have that feeling that you described, that I think there's a very good chance that I will enjoy it, just because I have enjoyed all the others. I mean, Force Awakens and Last Jedi, as we've discussed in detail in our last 2 episodes, I thought both of them were great. I think this new trilogy is great. So yeah, so far it would be exceptional if I didn't like it. On the other hand, I do, it's true that this movie has a somewhat taller order than any of the others, except possibly Episode 1.
Yes.
It has a very tough assignment. I would say ultimately even tougher than Episode 1. And, so it's a longer way to fall. What they're reaching for is higher up. But, I mean, I do feel somewhat impatient at this point. Like, all this time I've been aware it's in the distance, it'll happen, I'm looking forward to it, it'll be nice. Now, maybe it's just because we are so close now. I really just want to get to it,
I think the tentacle has something to say.
No, I just realized
my tentacle has something to say.
I never knew that I could.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's disgusting and also strangely appealing.
Yes.
So have either of you read any ludicrous fan theories? Do you have any favorite stupid fan theories?
I haven't read any, but I was, gonna, after we get through this, I want to figure out what our ideal, but we know it's not going to happen, theories are, and I think that would be fun to do as well. But I have not read anything, and I usually don't, and I don't think spoilers are going to upset me, but if they start to, I'm just going to leave the room, and you'll know to shut up.
Well, spoilers and theories are not quite the same thing, of course.
Right,
I mean,
no, I know.
But it is true that in this current internet culture that we're living in, the line does get blurred a lot. I mean, things that are, one of the reasons I haven't been following spoilers or leaks or theories very closely is because every time I look at my phone, I've got 5 clickbaity headlines taking 3 words from a J.J. Abrams interview in Vanity Fair and trying to blow it up into this gigantic reveal. And it's so absurd that I just have gotten sort of impatient with the whole thing. And I have read a few fan theories about what might happen, and none of them have struck me as particularly ludicrous. I think I'm very easily convinced by those things. Every time I read something like that, I think, oh yeah, this guy's got it all figured out.
Jar Jar was Darth Vader the whole time.
Wait a minute, I don't recognize you without your hat, Star Wars nerd.
I mean, what's his name? Or his title? Do we call him the...
I don't think he was anything except for that know-it-all hat.
The gatekeeper or something like that?
Oh, the gatekeeper works.
Yes. A lot of people have talked about the possibility that Skywalker in this movie might come to mean something other than an individual, that maybe Skywalker will be the new Jedi in some sense, and Rey and company will lead a Jedi-like force that'll be known as the Knights of Skywalker, something like that. Or that Rey will take on the name Skywalker and sort of become Rey Skywalker by the end of this movie, but not that she's biologically descended from Luke and Anakin, but just that Skywalker is a title at this point. That's compelling. I've heard people say that. Have you heard fan theories that were just ridiculous?
Okay, well, we can ask the gatekeeper can give us a
wow.
What do you got?
I believe that Rey is in fact, and just wait for this to sink in, Rey in fact Shmi Skywalker, who will travel back in time and give birth to the chosen one.
Okay, hold on. It hasn't. I have to let it sink in. It didn't sink in yet.
Just let it. It's like a grenade. Yes, Amanda.
I probably didn't know this because I wasn't a nerd, or I'm not a nerd. A Star Wars guru, the gatekeeper. But I was going to say that maybe she was Shmi's other child. But it didn't include back in time.
That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous that a slave woman could have more than one child.
But you know, she.
No, that's just
I missed the traveling back in time part, and I feel stupid. But I mean, like, I feel really stupid.
Good.
It sunk in. It just sunk in for me. I got it.
I still think that Kylo and Rey are somehow brother and sister. I don't know how. It's not possible. I mean, it's possible, but it's improbable. Very.
It is very Star Wars-y, though, if they were.
But I don't know. Why wouldn't they tell Rey?
Well, I think what we can conclude that we know that there is more to Rey's origin than we know. From what I understand, nothing that changed in Episode 8 will be, undone or walked back or anything. But the effect will be that there's more to it than we know. So what Kylo Ren told Rey about her parents, that apparently is going to be true, and at least some from a certain point of view. But there's more to it than that.
I mean, my understanding of that is that that's what he got from her thoughts. That she was kind of hiding this, and he's like, just admit it. Your parents were nobody. You know that.
It's true, because I don't think he ever says anything.
But then she finds out that wasn't true.
Or it's like, it makes me feel like it's some kind of Alec Guinness thing where they leave her where someone's watching over her, but.
Yeah, the filthy junk traders who have been identified as her parents may or may not be the people who left her. Or
it's the Thenardiers from Les Mis.
Uh-huh.
They take Cosette in, they treat her like a slave. Then Jean Valjean saves her, who is Han Solo. Oh my God. I know exactly what's going to happen now. It's Les Mis.
Yeah, you shouldn't watch Les Mis right now because spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
It is strange to think that, one more of these is going to have to somehow tie it all up. And I would have thought just tying up the events of the last two movies, that'll be a lot. But J.J. Abrams has been so specific in interview after interview and other people associated with the film. It's obviously a major talking point. This is not just a sequel to Episode 8. It sums up the entire 9-movie cycle. And that's been said so often. I mean, we know Palpatine will be there. We know there'll be some kind of wreckage of the second Death Star.
And they'll have a big battle on it, which is awesome, and all the rain. And it's going to look fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm still so impressed by the first trailer. I was so taken in by the first trailer that it kind of got me. The fact that they had Rey just standing there for so long. Like, they didn't start with all this action shit first. They started with her just standing there. And then this thing, when it was like North by Northwest, and it was just brilliant. And then I thought the trailer was going to end there, and I was perfectly happy with it. But that's exactly what this trailer should be. Then they went on, and it was amazing. But I don't know. I'm really excited about it.
We know that for a movie that has to wrap up so much, it also is biting off a lot in terms of new characters. Now that more promotional things are coming to light, we're seeing, there really is a lot of new stuff here too. There's at least 2 major new human characters, and there's a new little droid who rolls around with BB-8.
And of course, Baby Yoda will make an appearance.
Baby Yoda cannot possibly. Well, actually, no. Of course he could. Of course he could.
He could be specifically calculated to do so. Baby Yoda would be 75 around the time of
right.
Rise of Skywalker?
One of the droids is going to not be a droid anymore. If you have that many droids, it's either going to be the one we've known least or some. But we're not going to come out of this with 4 droids.
I mean, in general, we're going to lose some sympathetic characters. I think we can count on that. There's going to be at least one.
I think it's going to be the little
heroic
BB.
death.
Or I think it's going to be 3PO. Actually, I mean that's what they want me to think.
Something's going on with 3PO. Yeah, we don't know what that is.
Well, it's like it's misdirection. Is going to be misdirection, and Rey flipping out that double-sided laser sword. I almost said lightsaber, and it's all misdirection. I mean, that's all misdirection. That's what trailers do.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume anything from the trailer, in terms of the way it's what it seems to indicate might happen in the story. We've been led down that primrose path before with this very saga.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't want it to be that disappointing, but the last 2 haven't met, so I really don't think it can be. We're not watching Christian Anderson
Well, we may be watching him.
But he's not going to be the star.
We will be watching Hans Christian Andersen Cooper do something.
He's not the star. We know that.
What if he is, though? What if he is? What if it turns out that we get there and like half of that movie is him?
It's the Rise of Skywalker.
Here I am. I have risen.
It's mostly a road movie with Hayden Christensen and Jar Jar Binks hitchhiking their way across Tatooine.
That's beautiful.
I would watch that 75 times.
We should write that play.
It's something to talk about in the meta sense. When this new era of Star Wars began, it looked like we were going to be living in a world where a new Star Wars movie came out every year, that the Skywalker saga would be quickly dispatched in 3 additional films, but that would only be the tip of the iceberg. And it's played out a little differently than it seemed then. There are no solid plans for any Star Wars feature films beyond Episode 9, although it's been heavily indicated that there will be at some point.
I mean,
there are a couple
Rian
of
Johnson was still getting a trilogy of Star Wars movies.
Yeah, it's still on the table. It may be happening, but nothing has been confirmed or has dates, or anything like that. The Game of Thrones guys were going to do a Star Wars trilogy, and that fell apart.
Good.
Yeah.
Because sidebar here, I saw a great meme, and it was George L. Martin. Is that his name? George Martin. And
RR, I think.
RR, and he had put together an entire Rubik's Cube, and it was done, and it said Game of Thrones the book, and then it was this Rubik's Cube that had been painted all the same colors on every side, and it said Game of Thrones the series. And so that's what I don't want. I'm glad they're not doing it, because they would just paint over everything, make it work.
It seems to me Disney gets to have it both ways at this moment, because the Skywalker saga is ending. We don't know exactly what that means, because we don't know if additional Star Wars movies or trilogies that aren't part of the Skywalker saga will have all the marks of a Star Wars film, or if this really is the last time we'll have a John Williams score and a crawl and all those. Maybe that's just the Skywalker saga. So anyway, Disney gets to treat this like it's the last time around. But at the same time, they also get to prolong the franchise forever. And, they undoubtedly will. So it's sort of ending, and it's sort of never going to go away.
Like many things.
That is the way of things.
It is the way of things. I think the road movie, I think that idea is...
You like that one?
It's between On the Road and Godot. It's right in between those two. And I think it would be something that I would actually enjoy directing in a very small theater.
Well,
I know Marc-Anthony would come.
I would.
Yeah.
I would just come to see Christensen's abs.
So I've got a question.
Yes.
For everyone, a subjective question. If, say, the Emperor wasn't played by Ian McDiarmid, and Carrie Fisher was not Leia, and just think of them, who would you want to play some of these roles?
I would want Linda Hunt to play the Emperor.
I didn't hear that.
Linda Hunt.
I don't know who Linda Hunt is.
I'm trying to think of what you may have seen her in. Have you seen Dune? No.
I don't want to say no, but it's true.
It's true. Yeah, okay.
I've seen like 10 seconds of it. Oh my God, I feel like they're going to take my redneck card away from me. Anyway.
She hasn't seen Dune, y'all!
Hey! Who didn't show that girl Dune? Which boyfriend did not show that girl Dune? No, I think Linda Hamilton would be good solo.
I can see that, yeah.
And they would Leia and Solo would be Hamilton. That would be a nice update. Noah?
It's hard to think that all those people are so indelible in their roles. I mean, Palpatine, any scenery chewing, great villain. He's no longer with us, but like Alan Rickman probably could have done something with Palpatine.
It would have been totally different.
Yeah, but somebody who can portray vicious, evil gravitas. He's in the prequels as Count Dooku, but Christopher Lee is really great at that. Just conveying sort of deep cosmic menace, with his tone of voice.
I think Ed Harris would be a good Palpatine.
Okay. How about Jeff Daniels?
No, Jeff Daniels is Atticus Finch. Actually,
I would really like to see Tim Curry as Palpatine.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah.
He would disown it. He would disown it years later and never, ever talk about it again. The most important role.
Leia's even harder to imagine because so much of what we attribute to that character, especially many of the positive qualities we attribute to that character, are Carrie Fisher and are things that she very specifically brought to Leia. And it was lucky, I think, for the franchise, especially in terms of how progressive the original trilogy looks or doesn't look now. It was really lucky that Carrie Fisher, the beautiful young actress they cast in that part in 1976, turned out to be this sort of, intellectual powerhouse, humorist, cynical, anything other than an ingenue type. And it allowed Leia to kind of get a lot of referred gravity just because Carrie Fisher was playing her. She's not the only actor in the world who could have brought that to the role, but it's hard to imagine anyone else doing it that way.
But if it was being done today.
Well, actually, the truth is right now we do have a lot of smart, funny, young female actors in Hollywood.
What's her name? The one I love. It's not Anna Kendrick. It's Emma Stone. Emma Stone.
Oh, Emma Stone, or Emma Watson. Both Emmas are terrific, and Anna Kendrick is a good example too. She could play a princess, but she's very funny and hard-bitten, sort of hard-boiled in a way. And in a way, there are probably many more of those kind of options than there were when George Lucas was casting the first movie.
Jennifer Lawrence,
sure. Brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah, it is interesting that, we're going to, along with this goodbye episode, we're going to get to see Billy D. Williams again as Lando. And that'll be our nostalgia ride, I guess, for this one.
Until he dies.
I'm going to die.
Yes, he is. There's no question in the world.
If Lando somehow survives, everyone will come out of that saying, wait, is there an end credit scene where he dies?
He's going to be a hero, sacrifice himself like Finn did not. Die.
Yeah.
I'm glad he did, because everybody else would be dead if he didn't.
I did hear that Abrams called everyone back to do some reshoots because they realized after the film was locked that they had forgotten to kill Lando.
We have got to kill this smooth motherfucker off. Come
on. It's a year, I think. There's the time jump from episode 8 will have been a year. A year has passed. That's one of the things we know. We know that the central action of the movie will be like all of the heroes together on an adventure. It's not going to split them up.
Which they've barely been together. They really have not. That's been one of the things that is kind of different about this trilogy, is that we don't kind of have this band of heroes that go around everywhere together.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like Empire, though. You know, when it starts.
What?
When Empire starts, it's not a band of people.
Yeah, they're all apart, but they were
like...
all together for the first movie.
Right.
And that's not the case with this group.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
And we're going to walk in, and we're going to get more... It's going to take a while, but we're going to understand more about what the First Order has done, because it's probably got become more powerful. Otherwise, we wouldn't need this movie. And the Knights of Ren.
Yeah.
And they're like the Sith, or they're like the Jedi, maybe?
I think that I'm guessing the Knights of Ren are kind of like Kylo's underlings.
Yeah, but I think that means that he's teaching them the Force.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll be kind of like the Inquisitors on Clone Wars, who are these kind of Force sensitive but not like Jedi.
That was in the Clone Wars.
Clone Wars keeps you fresh.
Yeah, so I just did a big throat clear, and I don't remember what I was going to say.
I think you were just going to clear your throat. So what do we think about Palpatine? How do you think his appearance is going to be played out?
You mean like when he appears, or what he's going to look like?
No, both of those things.
I think he's going to look...
Go ahead.
The way he looks in Jedi. I think he'll be a Force ghost of that version of Palpatine. Or some sort of spectral version of that. The idea that he will sort of inhabit another being, I mean, we've talked about that possibility.
Right.
Matt Smith.
Maybe Matt Smith, yeah. Maybe Lando. Maybe that's how Lando...
That would be great. If Lando
like,
is doing an Ian McDermott impersonation.
Like, take me instead.
I want to see Billy D. Williams say, unlimited power.
Well, I just spit coffee. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
No, what would you like to hear Bob Dylan? What would you like to hear Billy D. Williams do again?
Say unlimited power. That.
Awesome.
I bet he has done that at least twice.
Yeah, I think it's the way he psychs himself up in his trailer before going to shoot. He sits and he looks in the mirror really hard, fixes the mustache, he gets all set up, and he goes, unlimited power!
I think he's done that since like
Williams.
Before these movies. Before every Colt 45 commercial.
Yeah.
And with that, so who would you have rather had, if you would, play Amidala and or Hans Christian Andersen? Of today. People right now, they're doing it today. Boom.
Amidala, same list of wonderful young female actors. You know, there's a lot of great people who could have brought something to that part. Anakin, you know,
I'm having a hard time coming up with someone for Anakin.
It was always hard. I remember we were living in fear that we thought the greatest possible catastrophe would be if Leonardo DiCaprio got that part.
If only it had been.
Yeah, he would have been great.
He was too old and pudgy at the time.
Was he in 1998? No, it was right after Titanic. It would have.
Yeah, right after Titanic was when he became like.
That's when he pulled the ripcord.
This round man.
He pulled the ripcord and got ripped.
Like Romeo and Juliet.
I guess you're right. And then he was in Gangs of New York, and he was like a meatloaf walking around. All right.
That poor fucker. But do you
today, maybe, I don't know, Timothy Chalamet maybe would be, he's not really like butch enough, I guess, for Anakin.
No. That'd be like saying Benedict Cumberbatch. It's just not going to work.
Not quite. None of the Chris's like would be quite right for.
I mean, you could, I guess.
You couldn't have a Chris. No, not a Chris in that part. I don't know.
I could actually kind of see Jake Gyllenhaal doing Anakin.
Okay.
He's a little old now, but
he's a little old now.
He would have been about the right age at that time.
That's not bad.
I'd like that little kid who was in that Peter Pan movie, and he said, "I've ruined it." What's that kid's name?
The kid in Hook?
In Finding Neverland, I guess.
Oh, Finding Neverland, yeah,
He's done some TV show where he's an autistic doctor. That's who I want.
We'll find him and bring him to you.
All right, thank you.
Now, what if Ewan McGregor had played Anakin?
Well, it doesn't seem obvious to me to cast him in that part, but he's a fine actor, and I'm sure he would have done it well.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think the thing about Anakin is that he's very good. He's full of the Force, but no, this is not the thing about Anakin. This thing about Hans Christian Andersen, he's full of the Force. He's got all this stuff, but he's not very charismatic. And what I'm describing is the performance in the movie, not who I think Anakin is.
It is a sort of, I mean, who is Anakin really? I mean, he was this character we had, decades to think about and hear little bits about and wonder what that guy might have been like in his pre-Vader life. It was so full of questions. And then we got, 3 movies that oddly didn't tell us that much, and it's hard to really put my finger on Anakin Skywalker pre-Vader as a guy, what that guy is like. I mean, we have, what's in the prequels is, we have that he's extremely capable, that he's extremely troubled, he's a conflicted hothead,
This is why it behooves one to watch the Clone Wars.
I'm not going to ring it again.
Therein lies Anakin's best character development.
Well, okay, why does Anakin wear all black? And they're like, sure, whatever.
He's just kind of goth. Like, he's into Susie the Banshees. Leave him alone.
Okay, all right. But nobody else is like, nobody else is able to put pins on or show their otherwise, it's weird. But it's the same thing Luke does in Empire.
In Jedi.
Jedi.
Yeah.
God damn it. Yes, Jedi. Excuse my language.
Yeah, well, one way or another, it seems like Anakin will be a factor in Episode 9, as Palpatine will. Like, the idea that this will address the story that's been going on over the course of all 9 movies makes it, a requirement to deal with Palpatine and Vader in some way. I think it's been confirmed that image in, I think it was the second trailer, is indeed Rey and Kylo like smashing Vader's helmet.
It looks like they're smashing some sort of, like clay Vader.
Yeah, it looks like a statue of Vader or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so we don't know what that's about. And there does also seem to be a shot of Rey looking down at Rey from Palpatine's point of view, where you see a little bit of his cloak. So I think that will be a confrontation between the two of them in some form.
Rey and Kylo cannot be friends at the end of this. I just don't think they can. That's not balance on the Force. That's like
at the end, they like the last shot is they're like sitting down to dinner together and they like pass fruit and giggle with the Force. You don't want that?
Kylo Ren goes, and a peach rises up.
Okay, so maybe is Kylo Ren the last Skywalker or the Rise of Skywalker?
It seems to me Kylo Ren has to be defeated or redeemed at the end. He's either going to be killed or otherwise vanquished because he's the villain, or his redemption will be the payoff for the redemption story that's been running all through the story.
I don't know.
mean, maybe what will happen is that the ghost of Anakin will just show up and say, "Oh, whoa, sorry, I was off in another world for a while. I didn't know you were doing this stuff. I'm your grandfather. Knock it off. I fucked up." Story over.
A lot of the trailers seem to have a lot of talk in them about like one last fight. This is one last push to try to win the whole thing. But it doesn't seem like it would necessarily be a narrative requirement that the First Order is completely defeated at the end of this movie.
Well, they can't. I mean, if they're all over the galaxy, they're still going to be ruling in certain principalities. If that's a thing.
Yeah. And this trilogy in general, like, the whole thrust of it is like, yeah, you defeated the Empire, but not really. It would be a bit much to ask us just 2 movies later to once again be like, okay, well, really this time. Bad guy's defeated. What are we doing about dinner?
They keep talking about how many are on their side in different places, and that we're not the last of the rebellion. It's all over the place.
Yeah, but nobody responded to their distress call.
Right. So is it really there? And will they all rise up? Is it like Joe Hill?
Well, I don't think the essence of episode 9 is going to be like, oh yeah, nobody's really interested in this rebellion anymore.
You don't.
No. I think
That's
it'll
not
be...
what I was saying in any way, shape, or form, by the way.
Well, I mean...
We're so over this rebellion.
Whatever.
You know what? We give up. Take the universe. We're going to go have a bagel. I don't know why the Empire is suddenly Jewish. Hey, and you know what? I didn't even try this. So I'm giving myself a bingo. It was for Noah, but...
Well... All right.
Yeah.
So you have your tickets already, Marc-Anthony? Do you know when you're going?
Yes, I have tickets ready to go.
We're going Saturday at 12:15 on 42nd Street. Saturday in 2 weeks, Saturday the 21st.
And we're gonna see it again that day. We're
gonna probably see it.
See it, eat, and then see it.
Okay.
That's the plan. Yeah,
I would not mind doing something similar.
I don't think I can talk about it unless I've seen it twice. The first time I'm just going to be like, oh.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm going to be like, I don't know what happened.
It will be a different sort of discussion for us, our show in 2 weeks. We will have only seen it once or twice. And, most of these movies we've seen a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they all change on repeat viewings.
Mm-hmm.
The more time I watch each of them, the more things I feel about it and notice about it.
I've got a question.
Ooh.
So everybody has, millions of Star Wars stories, but my most recent one that I think was interesting was when Rogue One came out. And right before we went to Rogue One, it was Rogue One, right, Noah? Right before we went to Rogue One, or was it? Okay, you tell me which movie. I can't remember which movie it was. We went to City MD because I was really sick. And
it was The Last Jedi.
Okay, they gave me like codeine or something. And we decided we were still going to go see the movie because it was opening day or it was getting to, I can't remember. And we went in there and we watched it. And I was like, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. And then we watched it again, like a week later with Noah's dad. And I was sitting there going,
that was Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. And I was sitting there going, I have never seen this movie. Like, I don't remember this. I don't remember that. I have never.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, I've never seen this movie. So that was one of my Star Wars stories. Marc-Anthony, do you have one?
Well, I already told you the story of the obese woman sitting on her son several times at Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
Well, if that's the one you have, then I think you have more than that.
Triumph the Insult Comic Dog interviewed and insulted me in line for episode 1 at the Ziegfeld.
Interesting.
Really? Was it on... was he on Conan at the time? I remember seeing...
It must have been Conan.
I remember seeing him insulting people online.
Yeah, and I mean, a bunch of the people that I was kind of near did end up in the spot. And, he was
An
a dog
insulting
puppet.
dog?
Yeah, he was an insulting dog puppet. There was also a guy there dressed as a tuna fish wizard for some reason.
Well, that's just a regular Tuesday afternoon for you, right?
That's usually, well, that's more like that's what would happen on Wednesday or every third Wednesday, but not on a Tuesday.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, we have different rules here in New York. I don't know.
Well, he saw it in New York. That would have been.
Oh.
I was thinking, let's see. Yeah, Tuna Fish Wizard. He must have seen it at the Village East.
So Noah, what's a Star Wars story you have?
I can't really think of a good one. A story about an experience viewing a Star Wars movie. I remember seeing when the special editions were released in the late '90s. I remember. I can't remember if it was A New Hope or Empire Strikes Back, but it was one of those. I saw it in the theater with my friend West, who was also my roommate at the time. West was babysitting for a kid who I think was a friend, like a family friend of his mother's or something. Anyway, we were watching this like 7-year-old boy, and so we took him to see Star Wars, which was completely new for him, and that was exciting to see. I mean, I was like about 20 at the time, but it was a lot of fun to revisit Star Wars in the presence of a little kid. I remember thinking that was great, and that specifically after the movie was over, and all the Gen Xers were just like bowled over by the experience. And this little kid, he just kind of got up from his chair, he looked around, he went, "Cool movie." Like, there it is. That's how it starts. Cool movie.
I have one.
Yeah, that was very sweet.
One more thing that I'd like to do, maybe now and a little bit more later, is there are a lot of bingo cards that I've just held on to the entire time. There's some that I've taken out of circulation, because, like Cleveland, because as much as I wanted somebody to say Cleveland, it wasn't going to happen, or things that people said a lot. So
I was going to say Cleveland tonight. I just watched Howard the Duck, and that's a big part of it. George Lucas produced it. I was waiting for my moment. You missed your chance to properly retire Cleveland. And then
this really affects my life now. So I'm going to try to get you to say a couple of these.
Okay. So, do your worst.
So this person, wait, who is the actor that played Leia's father? Not her real father, but
Jimmy Smits.
Right. Oh, and Noah, you know a lot about Jimmy Smits.
Well, I did not meet him once, but I did see him once at a Denny's. Ah, yes. It's one of my claims to fame. I'm sure everyone knows about the time I saw Jimmy Smits at a Denny's in Florida.
What was Jimmy Smits doing at a Denny's in Florida?
He was wearing a coat. I remember that.
Research?
I was sitting at a table with my friends. We were capable of spending hours and hours at Denny's smoking cigarettes. And we were all sitting at a table, and you could tell somebody important or something significant was happening, because there was a lot of commotion by the door to the restaurant, and what seemed like a large number of people. And a very tall and important seeming charismatic man came in and he had like a bit of a crowd with him. And one of my friends said, "Oh my God, that's Jimmy Smits." And I looked over, I said, "Oh yeah, you're right. That is Jimmy Smits."
Okay. Good job.
That's the story.
And then he became the Alderanian, Viceroy.
Yeah.
What do you think you could do that would make Kylo Ren not Kylo Ren? What do you think he needs in order to...
A haircut.
Good. Good choice. Good choice. He needs a hug.
Oh.
Okay, he doesn't. All right, let me try one more. It's a 3-parter. No, you often get confused with someone else walking around New York.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. Yes, everybody has a celebrity who they look like or who they're always compared to. And I mean, it's a little embarrassing to go into this, but I don't have to tell you. It's obvious. If I just had the scar on my chin.
Ding, 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 ding. Keep going.
if I had a scar on my chin, I think people would be very confused because that's the primary way of distinguishing me from Harrison Ford.
Ding, 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 ding. And you can also talk like him too. You're really good at impersonating him. Can you do it a little bit?
Impersonating Harrison Ford?
Yeah, when you speak like him.
You old smoothie.
No, I didn't really sound like him.
No, I don't really do a good Harrison Ford. You're trying to get me to say, "Oh, it belongs in a museum."
That's River Phoenix.
All right, that was
It belongs in a museum.
I'll do some more later.
That was fun.
Apropos of nothing, but when I was looking for things to talk about tonight, I found this old shiny like a droid kids book where R2 and 3PO go on all these little adventures, and there's some sort of tactile or interactive thing on each page.
Why do you think that Rihanna sang a song called Shine On Like a Diamond instead of Shine On Like a Droid?
There's little claw creatures in there.
I like the artwork in that book.
It's a furry bear.
What is that? It's a bear with how many arms?
He's three arms. No, it's 4 arms and one very oddly placed paw that you get to rub.
Like a ball, not like a...
Looks a little bit too come hither, really, in this picture. When 4-armed furry people come out of the woods, I don't know if you should touch them.
I don't know if they should be touching themselves, which is what it looks like.
R2 is got some kind of shiny thing here. And there are these rock mushrooms.
How old is this book, and what age is it for?
This was from, 1986. And I'm assuming it's for, toddlers.
I'm going to go ahead and say this because we've gone well past it. Ding, 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 ding. Something Marc-Anthony knows times 3.
Okay. I also want to share the Queen's Starship.
Wow. That's a nice piece of work.
It is.
How do you have a cat in the house with all this stuff?
He's a very sedate cat. He doesn't jump and climb on things very much. But also most of it is in boxes. It will be on display in our new abode.
So this is episode 1, right? Queen
Yeah,
Amidala's...
this is episode 1. It opens up and there's a whole area for all.
Is there a little place where, do you push a button and the door blasts off?
Yeah, there is, but I don't know if there are batteries in here. Let's find out. Yeah, no batteries.
So you could, kill her, kill Corday?
Yes, or is it Corday? I think, yeah. No, that's a different ship.
Oh.
And then also, while we're at it, I brought out the old Millennium Falcon. This would be the 1977 Millennium Falcon.
So what did Corday do?
She was
I know what she did.
What'd she do?
She did her duty.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Yes, your Falcon is a lot bigger than our Falcon.
Oh, you have a small Falcon?
Our Falcon does not do that.
And then it has this little training.
The little training orb. And it has the little chess table in there too, right?
Yes.
That's that's what you call a work of art.
Indeed. This was the most sought after toy. And
yeah.
Ooh. Okay, sorry. There, I'm done playing with toys.
Not at all. It's nice to see that stuff. Are you still collecting toys, Marc-Anthony? Do you follow? I have seen in my stories you might be interested in that all kinds of people searching for information about the new movie look for clues in the new toy releases.
In the toys. Yeah, no, I mean I don't really buy toys that much anymore. They take up space, they're expensive, and they don't really do you any good.
It's true, and there will be an endless supply of them. If you become a completist at this point, you'll.
Oh yeah, I never ever get to the end. It is the waiting for Godot of purchasing.
I never did Star Wars toys when I was younger, so now generally Noah gets me the people that I really really like.
Once in a while, yes, I'll get you an action figure.
He brought me Kylo Ren. He brought me Chirrut Imwe.
I did, yes.
He brought me one that broke, but I can't remember who that was.
It satisfies my own desire to buy Star Wars toys without actually like collecting them myself. Like getting a meaningful totemic Star Wars character for you that will mean something to you as a gift. That's a nice way to satisfy my. Because there is a tiny part of me that just wants to buy all the Star Wars toys. And there's a much bigger part of me that doesn't want them, doesn't want to spend money on them, doesn't really care about the new ones. It's really when I see like Marc-Anthony's Star Wars toys, the ones that take me back to my own roots, you know, it's just kind of, I could see there's a version of me somewhere buying all this stuff on eBay and setting it up in a room somewhere, you know, but I don't need to be that guy. I
think you're single in that scenario.
That may be true. It's certainly more likely. Anyway, but you know, there is a sort of fetishism about the toys left over from childhood that is hard to shake. And I could spend hours, Marc-Anthony, watching you just hold up. Ooh, remember this one? I really, it really does my heart some good.
If Carl Weathers, who we saw the other one, if Carl Weathers were in this show, what do you think he would say?
We're on this show on Face of the Stone?
No, just
we were interviewing
Star Wars. The next Star Wars. What do you think it would say?
In Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. What do you think his line would be?
I think it would have something to do with stew.
Ding, 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 ding. I'm trying to get through all these. I never will. But.
Well, all right. Do you feed us a couple more bingo cues before we wrap up?
I am not sure if there's someone else who can explain to me the journey that Luke goes on, or the journey that all the heroes seem to go on.
Yeah, would that be Joseph Campbell you're fishing for?
Ding, 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 ding.
Didn't we do that one a couple times?
Yeah, but we only heard it once, I think. But then you were like dismissive about it the rest of the time.
Oh, okay.
So on that island on that planet that we just saw.
Acto!
Yes, Acto. I mean, what do you think they had too much? I mean, like if you're eating dinner, that planet just has.
Borg?
Maybe I'm on the wrong planet.
If you're eating dinner.
It's the one where Skywalker isn't really Skywalker and he gets shot by Kylo Ren a lot.
Oh, Crate?
Yes. If you're eating dinner, there's just
too much salt.
Ding, 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 ding.
That's a high sodium planet.
If I knew the name of the planet, it would have been much smoother.
Too much salt, specifically, is a funny thought. It's not just a salt planet. That planet, it has too much salt.
It does. It just has too much salt.
That planet has been over-seasoned.
Where do you want to go on vacation, honey? We could go to Crete. It's too much salt. Too salty.
I might,
What shall we talk about the Mandalorian real quick before we end?
Sure. We're a little behind, actually. I think we're 2 episodes behind, okay. Which might mean that we haven't seen it since the last Faces of Stone talk. We were traveling for the holiday, and we've been a little behind on all of our things. So we can't speak to the last 2 episodes.
Oh, okay.
But you can tell us what.
No. I don't want to ruin anything for you.
You can tell us everything that happens in them.
Yeah.
Noah understands Star Wars a lot more than he understands
football.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes.
Wow.
That was amazing, Marc-Anthony. It's amazing.
That's the obvious answer to that question.
I've spent a lot of money on the past 2 years because I have really bad.
You spent a lot of money in the last 2 years.
Last few years because I have really bad
teeth.
Ding ding ding. Ding.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna even try to get you to say Alex Trebek. It's just stupid.
Wow. Well, you got me to say teeth.
What are you most grateful about Laura Dern's appearance in the most recent movie? What are you most grateful about?
What am I most grateful about regarding Laura Dern's appearance?
Yeah, regarding her character
in
and
The
her
Last Jedi.
Her role. Yeah. What are you very glad that she was or was not? Or I don't know how to say it. I'm just getting right there and telling you this is a terrible taboo.
I'm glad she's not a tulpa.
I'm glad she.
It is quite a taboo, tulpas.
I'm glad she never had really, really awkward sex with Kyle MacLachlan.
There will statistically eventually, however, be a Star Wars movie with someone having really awkward sex with Kyle MacLachlan.
Well, I don't know if it happened in Dune because I haven't seen it. Because nobody showed me Dune.
Girl ain't seen Dune.
What was Palpy?
Palps.
Palps. You called him Palps last time. It's hilarious. Hey, Palps. Yeah. Bring me some Mentos.
Yo, Mentos, yeah. Palps.
Palps, come here.
Come here, Palps. All right.
What about Palps? Is there a...
No, it's just funny.
Saying Palps is funny?
You know, I think Christopher Lee's character really got it. Finally, it just sunk in after Ewan McGregor told him,
"You won't get away this time, Dooku."
Ding, 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 ding. All right. You're not going to get the rest of these. We've already talked about this. It's Kylo's hair.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So you can keep going now. I've got more, but...
Well, I don't know. I think we might be... I think there's very little more we can say about Episode 9 until we've seen it. And that day will be upon us pretty soon. We've got a couple of weeks. Well, today is Sunday. Our next episode is 2 weeks from today, which means Episode 9 comes out 12 days from today. So we are really close. And the next time we have one of these conversations, we will have seen all 9 of the Skywalker Saga films.
And I hope I'm not sobbing the whole time, like I did the day after Twin Peaks when I crumbled to the floor sobbing.
I think it will be probably very emotional, and I don't think it'll be emotional in quite the same way that was. But I suspect, I anticipate being put through the ringer a bit as far as my heart and feelings go. How could it not be that, among other things? I think the stakes are very high for the movie, like in terms of, Disney and Abrams and the future of the Star Wars franchise. And, it seems to me like everyone concerned dearly needs this to be a big, fantastic, warmly embraced, successful film that everyone's happy with. And, the obvious demand for a crowd pleaser might wind up turning out to have had a very salubrious effect on the project itself, or it might set up an impossible situation where the movie can't possibly do all it's trying to do and tries too hard. And, it is an almost impossibly tall order. It is of the first order.
I feel like it needs to be 4 hours long.
It's shorter than The Last Jedi.
I think it needs to be 4 hours with an intermission. I really do. I think we're in a White Album situation. Some of the songs could have been cut, but they weren't. And it's the White Album, so shut the fuck up.
So if it turns out to be episode 9, 10, and 11.
Yes.
In an interview, J.J. Abrams has said that he was able to use some ideas that had been developed for episode 7 and not used. And we know that some of the Leia footage that was shot for episode 7 has found its way into the story here and apparently works. So, it is interesting to think, like, although this is the last and next movie, the idea of like what happens after Return of the Jedi is something they've been working on for a long time and have made at least some decisions fairly early on in this process.
Do you think that they're gonna repurpose the footage of Leia like flying through space somewhere else? Like just get in the cafeteria, getting an orange juice.
It's just Leia flying around a lot, yeah.
Moisturizing for 5 minutes.
I guess, I don't know if this is a leak or a theory or what, but it seems like everyone expects Leia to have been Rey's mentor in some sense in the year between episodes 8 and 9. Leia has been sort of training Rey in the use of the Force, and in a little teaser that was released in the last week or two, there seems to be a shot of Carrie Fisher holding a lightsaber.
There does. But that also could be like, I have to pick up my brother's legacy now. But she's probably trained. I mean, it's quite sexist if they did not train her.
Yes, well, this trilogy has definitely helped the gender parity of the galaxy far, far away. All right. Well, anybody final thoughts before we shut down and then buckle up?
No, I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm thrilled to talk to you guys about it.
Yeah.
But, we're going to have to make sure we don't talk about it too much before.
Right. I mean, Noah and I can't talk about it. I don't think between.
No, you can't. You're just going to have to look at each other and make faces and hope that you're interpreting those faces correctly.
You can get me out of the theater if I'm not
maybe
on
you
the floor
shouldn't even exchange faces about it. You should just don't talk to each other at all from the time.
We'll go to different lunch places.
Yeah.
Great. Good idea.
All right. I'll miss you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
We better not talk to each other for the next 2 weeks until.
Yeah, let's not.
Well, that's normal.
Well, listen, folks, we got one of these left. Although, who knows? Faces of Stone has a way of coming back and returning when you least expect it. But at least for now, for this series, we are going to wrap it up next time. I can't find my pieces of paper that say that our entire schedule is available at facesofstone.space, or that you can find all 3 of us on social media quite easily. But take my word for it, even though it's not written down. And we will see you one more time 2 weeks from today on Faces of
Stone.